how do you tackle it? Because in the United States, where the population is just about 1%,
Mhm.
even here, they have found a way to silence criticism. And even here, they have found a way to get over the freedom of speech by talking about Islamophobia, by playing victim. So, how do you tackle this situation? Or just as you say, that, okay, just succumb.
Mhm. Yeah, well, if you notice, it's all the institutions that have power over communication. They're all on the same side of this, right? So whether it's politicians or journalists, especially journalists are the absolute worst. Um, the entire education system, so college professors and so on, Hollywood, everyone's on the same page that if you criticize Islam, you're the one with the problem. You're the one who has a problem, and it's probably racism. But everyone in positions of authority over what other people, over communication, over what people are allowed to say, the tech companies, so Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they're all on the same page here in that they're all trying to silence criticism of Islam, one way or another, or at least to reduce it. And that's what we're up against. And that may seem like things are just hopeless, because how can we, look, we're like YouTubers and podcasters and things like that. How can we stand up when everyone up there in any position of power is against us? But it's what we have on our side. We have the truth on our side, and we have a lot of common sense on our side, so that if you watch someone change their mind, because a person can change his mind about something and say, oh, I was wrong about that. When people change their minds about something, they're usually changing their minds in our favor. So it's normally, oh, I had heard that Islam is a religion of peace, but now that you're showing me what the Muslim sources say, yeah, this is a problem. Or yes, I had a friend who told me that Muhammad never had sex with a young girl, but now that I'm looking at the sources, yes, he obviously did. And so what we have on our side, we have the truth. Because when we're talking about what's in the Muslim sources, that's factual information. We can actually point to it and show, here's what the Muslim sources say. Here's how jihad works in Islam. When you make up a tiny percentage of the population, you try to live in peace and build up your community. When you're stronger, but you're not yet able to subjugate a community, then you fight defensively to make sure that they're not challenging or criticizing you. And then if you become the most powerful force, then you violently subjugate everyone around you. That's in the Quran. That's in the Hadith. There are Muslim scholars today who will say, when they're being honest, will say the exact same thing. There's a recent clip by Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, where he's saying exactly what we say about jihad and how it proceeds in stages. And he's telling Muslims openly on YouTube to prepare now, since they're not strong enough to subjugate the entire world. He's telling them to prepare now, and saying that 50 years from now, when they're strong enough, then they can go door to door, and it's convert, pay the jizya, or this is what he said. He goes, you convert, you pay the jizya, or so he's talking about mass murder. He's totally fine on YouTube, because he's on the right side of that issue according to the YouTube censors. But that's all stuff we can point out in their sources. We can show 14 centuries of Islamic history, and you guys know Robert. Robert has a book, The History of Jihad. The history of jihad shows jihad hasn't stopped. Most people, especially in places like the United States, aren't familiar with anything before like 9/11. But if you actually study the history of jihad, it has never stopped since the time of Muhammad, when he actually started fighting. It has been relentless in coming after us for 14 centuries. And so when we say, hey, here's what Islam is and here's what it teaches, you can have people say, you're racist, you're bigots, you're Islamophobes, but we have the truth on our side. And so that's something that we can use to show other people that they do need to be concerned about this, that this has nothing to do with race. I have to say that you guys have a huge advantage here. And this is why it's awesome that you guys are talking about this, because people see me in the US, and if I'm criticizing Islam, it's very easy to say, this guy's a racist or something like that. They've been trained to do that. But it's harder to say that about you guys, right? Because you obviously don't, you obviously don't hate you obviously don't hate brown-skinned people, and so they can't say it about you. And so it's good that you guys are exposing jihad.